This is 5-Minute Mysteries of Indigenous History. I'm your host, Jen. On this show, we investigate the misrepresentations and stereotypes promoted to Canadian youth by animated movies. On this episode, getting to know the Real Pocahontas, we will be looking at the important question, who was Pocahontas? And what lessons should we learn after comparing her to the Disney version? Growing up, I loved to watch movies, but it wasn't until I got older, started my studies at Trent University, and was exposed to the oppression of Indigenous peoples in Canada that I started to wonder if the movies I loved as a child were based on true stories and how much of what I was watching was made up. That's why I made this show. As a future educator, I think it is so important to eliminate stereotypes in the classroom and expose the truth to Canadian youth. Will you join me on my mission? If you answered yes, then let's begin. You've probably seen Disney's Pocahontas, but in case you haven't, here's a quick recap. The movie opens in London in 1607 with Captain John Smith leading a ragtag band of English sailors and soldiers to the New World to plunder its riches for England, or more precisely for Governor Ratcliffe, who comes along for the ride. Meanwhile, in this New World, Chief Powhatan has pledged his daughter, Pocahontas, to be married to the village's greatest warrior, Kocoum. Pocahontas, however, has other ideas. She meets Captain John Smith, they fall in love, and in the end, Pocahontas saves Smith's life and prevents war between the Englishmen and her tribe. Although this storyline made for a great romantic movie, it was full of historical inaccuracies. It is clear to me that this false history promoted in the Disney film Pocahontas gives the children who view it an inaccurate understanding of colonialism and Indigenous history, as well as the resulting position of modern Indigenous people in Canada due to said colonization. So let's clear some things up and look at Pocahontas' life according to Western and Indigenous historians. As historians will tell you, she was the favorite child of Chief Powhatan. She never had a romantic relationship with John Smith. In fact, she was only 11 when he first came to the New World. According to Smith, Pocahontas did save his life twice. However, if you look at oral tradition, as Pocahontas is only a child, she would never have been afforded the opportunity to do so. In 1609, John Smith left Virginia. The year after, Pocahontas married Kocoum. According to oral history, she gave birth to a son. In 1613, Pocahontas was captured by Captain Samuel Argyle in order to ransom her for stolen weapons and prisoners. As she was the favorite child of Powhatan, he immediately began negotiating for her release. However, she never did return to her people, as during her time in captivity, she met and married John Rolfe, converted to Christianity, birthed a second son named Thomas, and was named Lady Rebecca Rolfe. Her marriage led to the so-called Peace of Pocahontas. In 1616, Pocahontas and her family, accompanied by members of her tribe, traveled to England, where she once again met John Smith. Unfortunately, just as Pocahontas prepared to return home, at the age of 21, she passed away. According to Western historians, she likely died of natural causes, but oral history says that she was poisoned by the same Captain Argyle who originally captured her. Soon after her death, her father also passed away. Peace between the English and Indigenous people of the New World unraveled once again. There are some clear differences between the historical Pocahontas and the one portrayed in the Disney film. So why is it so important to recognize and teach our children about these differences? Well, first off, historical and cultural misrepresentations and inaccuracies promote false stereotypes. These stereotypes are hurtful to modern Indigenous peoples. Movies like Pocahontas contribute to the appropriation of Native American culture by Western society. They also add to the confusion of Indigenous youth surrounding questions of identity, historical truth, and cultural representation. Finally, movies such as Pocahontas that do not accurately portray colonialism and the atrocities that occurred undermine Indigenous rights, public perception, and oral history in modern-day Canada. I hope that this episode has taught you that you need to question what you are watching and what your children are watching. Pocahontas is an excellent example of history that has been exploited for Western purposes, betraying historical truths. I wish that during my childhood, I had been exposed to the negative side of movies such as Pocahontas, and therefore, as an educator, I will continue to expose true histories on 5-Minute Mysteries of Indigenous History. At the end of the day, it is important that non-Indigenous people, be that researchers, politicians, producers, or just normal people, understand and respect Indigenous culture by presenting it in an accurate light that includes Indigenous viewpoints and reflects upon Canadian colonial history. We have to understand that what we present to our children directly impacts their paradigms and worldviews. I'm Jennifer Whipp. Thanks for watching.